So mark my words, the sports card industry will collapse by end of 2024.
Vegas Dave, stop putting content on the internet. Just stop it. Stop talking about sports cards. Stop. Vegas Dave, if you guys don't know, he's the one that bought the $400,000 Mike Trout Superfractor, flipped it 2 years later for $4.1 million, something like that. 10 times his money, pretty much. People think he knows what he's talking about because he made that gigantic flip. I'm here to tell you that he's crazy. And just a couple weeks ago, he posted on Facebook saying the market was going to crash. He just recently released a video yesterday saying it's going to crash by 2024. And this is going to be my reaction to it and why I just think there's a lot of false evidence in this video. I do think he is telling the truth on a couple things, and I'll cover that as well. So I'm going to talk about what I think was true in his video and what I think is completely false, and why I just think he should stop talking about sports cards in general. So before the football season started this year, he made a video how he is collecting Derek Carr for his next big investment. Made an entire YouTube video on how Derek Carr is going to be a giant success, and obviously that blew up in his face. Yeah, maybe he made some profits on his cards because of the market inflation just in general, but I definitely think that plays a role in his hatred towards the hobby now. I think he's regretting talking up Derek Carr. I'm not saying Derek Carr's a bad quarterback. I like Derek Carr, just he's never going to be that elite category. He just isn't. And in this video, he talks about how that wasn't a thing and how he's making money off Derek Carr, and he's not thinking that way. I think it has a little bit to do with it. I think he's a little salty about Derek Carr not doing what he wanted to do and not being correct, not being able to predict the future like he thought he would be able to. I think it has a little bit to do with it. So another truth in this video, and honestly the most accurate thing he did talk about, was cards being overinflated. People in the stock market noticed that sports cards was investable and people were pulling their money out of the stock market, bringing them in the sports cards. I do think that's true. I do. The amount of money we're seeing thrown into the hobby this year, celebrities, everything, I do think he's onto something there. I do think there's some kind of truth to that. There's definitely way more money in the hobby. He also talks how cards have gained value for no reason. And Michael Jordan's 86 Fleer going from a $60,000 card to a $100,000 card just because his documentary came out. You know, that's a valid point. I'll give Vegas Dave that. I don't think that jump was precedented. And now that card's selling for $738,000, something crazy like that. Those prices are unprecedented. They talked about how Steph Curry, one of his cards, sold for like $900K, and last year was like a $100,000 card, and he didn't even play last year. So I don't think he's wrong on those points. I do think he's telling the truth about the card hobby being inflated. And honestly, it doesn't take a smart person to say that. Like, I do think there will be a correction in the market. I do personally think there are some overpriced cards. Like, when we're seeing cards double overnight, and I'm talking big cards, and I'm not talking like, wow, this $2 card is now a $4 card. I'm talking, this card was $100K, now it's like $400K. Just insane price increases. I do think there's some truth to that, and I do think there'll be a correction. Mostly in the basketball hobby, I do think it's expensive. And if you guys watch my channel, I mostly collect baseball. I think the baseball hobby is perfect where it's at right now. Mike Trout's rookie card being around $6K, being the biggest card. I think it's great. I really do. Obviously, we have some exceptions with some bigger cards, but I think the baseball market is like perfect right now. I think it's very healthy. I do not think it's going to crash. I think in basketball and a little bit in football, there's going to be more of a correction than in baseball. Just because I do think there's a flaw with how expensive some rookie cards are. Like, there's no reason a Zion rookie card, first year in the league, should be selling in a PSA 10 for over $1,000 for a base card. I just think that's ridiculous. Even Luka, I know Luka's phenomenal, but his prices are insane. People are pretty much pricing these guys out to be the best players of all time, and we all know how sports work. It just usually doesn't work out like that. Sometimes it does. Sometimes a player has an insane career. But the chances that Zion and Luka and Ja Morant, the chances that they pan out to be like the best players ever, which is what they're pretty much being priced at as rookies, it's a low percentage chance. It really is. So I do think there will be a correction eventually, specifically in the basketball market. I do think the basketball market is overpriced. I could see them coming down, but I don't see it crashing. When we're talking crashing, I think about junk wax era. I think about these $100,000 cards are going to be worth nothing. He's saying that the Fleer Jordan rookie is going to be worth under 100K. I never see that happening again with how rare it is. I never see that happening again. So let's go with something false about the video. Vegas Dave said, I predicted the hobby would boom, so you should listen to me pretty much. When did you predict it was going to boom? He made a video when he bought that Mike Trout Superfractor for 400K saying, this card's going to be worth $5 to $10 million in 10 years. I'm sorry, but that's the safest buy you could have ever made. A Mike Trout Superfractor, his best card from the best player of the modern era by a landslide. Congratulations, you made a prediction that was pretty much guaranteed. In no way, shape, or form do I see that purchase being, oh my God, I was the first person to predict the market. There's just no way. He made the easiest purchase on the planet Earth. He's the one that just had the money to do it. If I had $400,000 to drop on a card, I would have bought that same card because I thought the same thing. As soon as he bought it, I was like, wow, that's a great buy. But I wish I had $400,000 to buy that card, but I don't. Like, I don't think that's a good reason for him to be like, listen to me because I was right about something that was automatic. So I can tell you guys something else that's true about this video. And it's not even anything he said, because I think the only thing truthful he said about this video is that some cards are overpriced. And I can't argue that. I really do agree. There are some cards that don't make any sense. I can tell you that he's terrible for the hobby. He is terrible for the hobby. I don't care if he has millions of dollars still in the industry. Him as an influencer and him as someone who, yeah, he did flip a card for $4 million, have the average person following him. He has a humongous following because of that. Like, there is people that will live and die based on what he says, and him just trashing the hobby is horrible for it. This whole video he made about him versus Gary Vee, like, I'm taking Gary Vee's side because Gary Vee he doesn't go over the top with it. He has made some predictions saying sports cards are going to be huge, but he's constantly doing things to talk up the hobby. He's doing things to keep it relevant. He's doing things to help, actually. And I'm not usually one to advocate for Gary Vee, but he is not hurting the hobby. Vegas Dave putting out this video saying it's going to crash, all it's doing is putting negative vibes in the air, and it's going to hurt. Like, there's nothing positive coming out of this video. There's zero positivity coming out of this video with him just saying it's going to crash. So him as an influencer, you're doing a bad job, Vegas. Also, he burns a $200,000 Jordan card, that sticker, on the video. Like, congratulations, you're rich. There might be 1% of people in the world that actually care that you have a lot of money. But you coming out here and trying to scare people out of the hobby is not right. Like, that video should be deleted. He should delete everything he says about sports cards from here on out, unless it's going to be something positive. One of his biggest points in this video, and it really wasn't because he didn't even go in depth with it, was he's putting this video out to protect the hobby. He's doing it to protect the market. How are you protecting the market? He didn't offer one solution. All he said was, it's going to crash. Cards are overvalued. Like, how are you trying to protect the market when you didn't even offer a solution? If he would have came out and said, this is going to crash and we need to do this, this, and this to where it doesn't crash and how we can prevent it and protect the market, I would have been all for it, you know? If you would have had something positive to say. But again, this was just a negative video all around. I'm stressed out. That video gets me worked up. It really does. Honestly, I don't have much more to talk about other than, you know, I do think there will be a correction in the future. Personally, I don't think this hobby's going anywhere. I think there's way too many people in the hobby. I think there's way too much money in the hobby for it to ever crash again. I think there's way more differences than in the junk wax era. We have numbered cards. We have eBay. We have Facebook. We have the internet. They didn't have that in junk wax era. Being able to buy and sell cards has never been easier. I never see the sports card hobby ever being irrelevant again. I never see a junk wax era happening again. There's just too many things that they've done to prevent it. Like I said, numbered cards will always be a thing. We will never have to worry about quality control like it was in junk wax era. But there's just a lot of differences, in my opinion, between now and what junk wax era was. I never see the hobby going away. I really don't. I just think there's too many things in place now, and the internet being the biggest. Just, it's never been easier to buy and sell, and it's never been easier to actually make a living off of this hobby. I've been collecting now for 5 years, and I've just seen the hobby grow, and grow. Yeah, it blew up this year, but it's just on a great path right now. I just don't see it going away. I do think there'll be a correction, though. All right, that's it for today's video, YouTube. Thank you guys for watching. Vegas Dave, stop making YouTube videos talking about the sports card hobby. Just get out. Sell all your cards. We don't want you in the hobby anymore. I probably shouldn't say we. I probably shouldn't speak on everyone, but I don't want you in the hobby anymore. Yeah, guys, if you guys like this video, please get a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments what you guys think on this topic. Do you guys want Vegas Dave in the hobby? Do you want him out? Was this a positive video? Was this a negative video? I just think it did no good putting this video out. Thank you guys for watching as always, and you guys have a great day. See ya!